tell you my story later. This is place. Are we ready?
It's up to you, ma'am.
Call to order the Claremore Cultural Development Authority meeting. Sarah, please call the roll.
Cotton. Here. Bellman.
Here.
Michael. Calendar. Long.
Yes, here.
Eslick.
Here.
Bolby.
Here.
McSpadden. Irwin.
Here. If you'll stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance and invocation by Pastor Dave Warren.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mayor Long. I'm sorry Brett Metcalf couldn't make it tonight, so he asked me to substitute. I'm a very poor substitution for him. I'm much better looking. So let's pray. Father, in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ, we just thank you for an evening like this. Of course, it's beautiful weather. We love that we're going into a wonderful season. We look forward to all of the holidays that are right around the corner. But God, more than anything else, we just love the fact that we live in Claremore, that our businesses are in Claremore. This is where our interests are. So we ask, Father, that you would just take care of every item on the agenda tonight, that every desire of every heart, every business, every person, every personal circumstance, that today, Father, you would just lead us and guide us in all of that. And may your will be done in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. We won't tell Brett you.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, Dave. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Do we have any signed up for call in public?
We do. We have two. The first is Amanda Jackson.
Yeah, you go first, man. I was first.
We're together.
We have to go over because we're.
No?
No?
You go first, and then we'll piggyback onto you.
I'm Chip Keeley.
If you'll go to the podium right there.
Your name is what? Sorry, Chip.
Chip Keeley.
Thank you.
I got 3 minutes, so I kind of put something together here. I'll just kind of go over these topics and then, maybe talk a little bit about it, and then you guys can go over. This is a copy of emails that I sent John Fury.
I don't want to, this doesn't count against your time, Mr. Keeley, if you'll pause. I think it's important, Adam, our attorney, will explain how the public comment section goes, because it's not an agenda item. Your conversation will be heard. There will not be any response or action taken this evening. There's some, okay,
Yeah.
okay, just,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just want to give you
I
know,
know
Mr.
that.
Keeley. Okay, appreciate
So,
it.
this is correspondence I've got with Sergeant Matt Rice and Mr. Fury. So this is y'all's copy. You can study that later. I'm the flag vendor that sets up down at El Charro. I got a military business. I did the VA hospitals as a contracted vendor for 16 years, making custom gear. COVID killed that. I also owned a military store on Mingo for 6 years, me and my Vietnam partner. And we're on the news. Rick Wells did stories for us every year before he retired. And we did food drives every year for the homeless veterans and veterans in need. So we did a lot for our community. I'm well respected in the city of Tulsa. And I have actually some customers that used to come shop for me, get military flags or Christian flags or even a Trump flag. I mean, that's, I sell that stuff, but I'm patriotic and I love my country and I feel like I have a voice. But anyway, Jose gave you permission to set up at his restaurant. I believe it was in 2019. I can't remember when he opened, but he was doing construction on the restaurant. I went in and talked to him, told him about my military business, and he gave me permission. And so ever since, I just would set up out there periodically, and then there's been a residence of Claremore that's been almost stalking me. And he comes by, he'll stop right in front of me and cuss me out and just give me the business. His veins are popping out, and I've done nothing. And I've told him that. I said, man, just go on. I'm not causing any problem. Yes, you are. And he just was yelling, obscenities and calling me Nazi and all kinds of bad things. But here's the deal. When Obama was elected, I didn't agree with his policies, but, I didn't be disrespectful. And I never drove down the road and flipped people off and cussed them out. You know, that's not who I am. I'm a businessman. I've got liability insurance. I've got Oklahoma State tax ID. I've been doing business for the last 25 years with my own business. And so that's kind of who I am. I just wanted to let the city know who I am and why I do it. And it's not just Trump gear. I have Christian flags. I got Christian decals. I've got military decals, military flags. So I have a nice variety of stuff for people, you know. But I mean, yes, I support this guy, but it shouldn't be a crime to do that. So
Thank you, Mr. Keeley.
That was your 30 minutes.
that's my 3
I
minutes.
appreciate your.
Okay.
Thank you.
So I just wish you guys could consider a permit for me.
I have his address. We need to tell him.
You want to finish it up?
Next.
Amanda?
What was your last name?
Jackson, ma'am?
Jackson?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Chip's friend Amanda. I'm here to kind of seek some clarification on the permit situation. I was reading his email correspondence, and from what he was told, he had to come and seek a permit for open air vendors. But then when he tried to seek said permit, he was told they don't have a permit for open air vendors. So what we're trying to figure out here is how he's supposed to go about being in compliance. He's just an honest businessman trying to do some business in compliance with your ordinances down here. And we're not exactly sure how to proceed because we're getting conflicting information. He's told to go seek an open air permit. When he does, he's told that doesn't exist. So it's kind of almost seems like somebody just doesn't want him here, or they're just kind of running him around. That's kind of what it feels like to us. On your website, I think it's called Progress, Claremore Progress, that I was looking on. I noticed at the bottom of every published article where it says you guys' contact information has the First Amendment listed there. And
Are you referencing the local newspaper?
I'm not sure what
That's
exactly
not
that
us.
was. Okay.
Okay.
Well, either way, it seems like the First Amendment is something that you guys support and defend. And if he's not allowed to be issued a permit for no reason, that kind of doesn't really jive with that. So I guess what we're trying to figure out here is how we need to go about getting what we need to get to continue to do business. Because it just kind of seems like there's no reason being given for him to be told why he can't have a permit whenever he was told to seek a permit in the first place. So I guess that's basically all I have to say.
Thank you. Do we have anybody else, Sarah?
No, that's it.
We have a motion to accept the agenda as printed. Second. A motion, a second. Any discussion? Call the roll.
Feldman?
Yes.
Cottom?
Yes.
Long?
Yes.
Eslick?
Yes.
Mulvey?
Yes.
McSpadden?
Yes.
Irwin?
Yes. Any items unforeseen?
None.
Current business, do we have a motion to approve the consent items as printed?
So moved.
Second?
We have a motion, a second. Any discussion? Call the roll.
Feldman?
Yes.
Eslick?
Yes.
Cottom?
Yes.
Long?
Yes.
Mulvey?
Yes.
McSpadden?
Yes.
Irwin?
Yes. We have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second. We have a motion, a second. Call the roll.
Feldman?
Yes.
Irwin?
Yes.
Cottom?
Yes.
Long?
Yes.
Eslick?
Yes.
Mulvey?
Yes.
McSpadden?
Yes.
Call to order the Claremore Public Works Authority. Note the roll. Do we have a motion to accept the agenda as printed?
So moved.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Call the roll.
Feldman?
Yes.
Cottom?
Yes.
Long?
Yes.
Eslick?
Yes.
Mulvey?
Yes.
McSpadden?
Yes.
Irwin?
Yes. Any items unforeseen? The time is posted. Under current business, do we have a motion to approve the consent items as printed?
So moved.
Second?
Have a motion, a second. Any discussion? Call the roll.
Feldman?
Yes.
McSpadden?
Yes.
Irwin?
Yes.
Cottom?
Yes.
Long?
Yes.
Eslick?
Yes.
Mulvey?
Yes. We have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. Motion, a second. Call the roll.
Feldman?
Yes.
Cottom.
Yes.
Long.
Yes.
Eslick.
Yes.
Colby.
Yes.
Weeksbaden.
Yes.
Irwin.
Yes. Call to order the Claremore City Council meeting. Note the roll. We have a motion to accept the agenda as printed. Second. We have a motion, a second. Any discussion? Call the roll.
Feldman.
Yes.
Irwin.
Yes.
Cottom.
Yes.
Long.
Yes.
Eslick.
Yes.
Colby.
Yes.
Weeksbaden.
Yes.
Any items unforeseen?
No.
Mayor's report and appointments. There are none tonight. Any awards, presentations, or communications, Mr. Manager?
No, Madam Mayor.
Staff reports, Mr. Manager?
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. 2 quick updates. One, Good Friday, city offices will be closed. That's a week from this Friday. And good news on the front of the substation overhaul project. We thought we would be in the fall before all would be completed. They had an opening. They showed up early. They're wrapping up substation 3 today or this week. And they're moving to substation 2 before the heat moves in. So that will be a complete overhaul of all 4 substations. That, along with the CEC engineering report on substation 2, which was the one that caused us all of the acrimony last summer, was completed by CEC, and all of that work to balance the phasing will be done with the overhaul and will be done internally by our staff, so there's no reason to go do any sort of public improvement bid process. I mean, the good news is that it's a simple fix now that we know what we know over years of that being built out and not understanding it. The bad news is it costs us about $170,000 for somebody to say, go in there and spend 30 minutes switching some things around. That's why this next budget year you will see the electric distribution master plan. We have master plans on every single utility and infrastructure. We've never done that for some reason. Again, one of the things that I started working on about 3 years ago when I first got here, putting the money aside, we can no longer afford not to do it. So it's those types of things that we'll be able to identify and better serve our citizens moving forward. So, but the substations will be completely overhauled and done before summer, and 2 will be balanced out on the phasing. So we're excited. So the SCADA has already been installed.
It's already done. Yeah.
So tying all this together, so substantial improvements in our communication with our substations. And that is all I have, Madam Mayor.
Under current business, do we have a motion to accept the consent items as printed?
So moved.
Second. We have a motion, a second. Any discussion? Call the roll.
Feldman.
Yes.
Cottom.
Yes.
Long.
Yes.
Eslick.
Yes.
Colby.
Yes.
Weeksbaden. Irwin.
Yes. Item number 2, discussion possible action on resolution number 2024-3, amending the Claremore 2040 Comprehensive Plan future land use map from suburban commercial to general multifamily residential as printed. Mr. Clerk.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, City Council, Mr. Fury. The item before you is a rezone request as well as an amendment to the future land use map. And as we have discussed in the past, this is kind of a two-part action. You can't have one without the other. So obviously the amendment to the future land use map is what authorizes the zoning change to actually take place, because as of right now, the requested zoning doesn't jive with the current. So before I kind of go into this a little bit, I did want to note there is one Scrivener error that's on your agenda item, just so you guys aren't confused as to where this actually is. Under site conditions, you'll notice a general location that we always provide. We typically try to provide a major intersection in order to orient you to the site. This particular intersection is referenced wrong. It should say east of South Haven Road, not west of South Haven Road. So it is the northeast corner of South Haven and King Road. I just want to make sure that I clarify.
Kyle's trying to take Joe Kaza's land away from him, rezone it.
So I just want to make sure everything else, obviously legal description and everything all drives just fine. It was just there was a Scrivener error in that actual agenda item. So, this particular item, it's being requested over a rather large site. It's 10.384 acres. And kind of the intended use of this property is to actually build some multifamily development on it. And currently it is zoned neighborhood commercial.
and they are requesting multifamily 1. So in terms of kind of the spectrum of developmental density or intensity as it may be, this would be probably considered more of a downzoning because you're actually reducing the actual density that could occur on that property had it been left to be an actual neighborhood commercial development. So he is leaving a few pieces as kind of out parcels to be able to facilitate some commercial development kind of on the major corners of this site, but everything else would be multifamily in nature.
So the commercial part would be retail potentially?
It could be retail, it could be, office, it could be, there's a lot of different things that it really could be. They're rather smaller out parcels. I mean, they're not small, but they're rather small. So it's not going to be necessarily a couple strip centers that pop up in conjunction with, an apartment complex.
So we're allowed to ask questions?
Yeah.
Okay, so they're looking to put an apartment complex
Yeah, some form of multifamily development. Yeah, we don't know for sure if it'll be, geared towards seniors or whether it'll be market rate. That'll have to come down through some study from the developer, but it'll be some form of multifamily development.
I noticed on the agenda that there was quite a few people that came to that meeting, that there was 13 people that opposed that development, and there was quite a few people concerned of the infrastructure handling traffic. I mean, South Haven and King Road, I know that intersection, and for them to have an apartment complex there, it would be quite a bit of traffic concern, and I know that there also was flooding in that area.
Counselor, if I may for a minute. So one, we're starting this next budget year, phase 2 of the South Haven widening project. So the right-of-way acquisition will take place. You're right, that roadway is going to get improved, as will King with the Highway 20 expansion. We're kind of waiting for some of that stuff to settle down. There is no City of Claremore water system or City of Claremore sewer. There's a rural water district and a private would be our roadway, would be our electric. So there are some issues there. That particular piece of property, though, as far as flooding, they'll have to go like any other development. They'll have to submit engineering plans that will have to be reviewed. Mr. Knapp is here, the applicant is here. I think that the needs that will take to facilitate any growth there on the sewer side are a ways off, to be frank with you, because they're talking to DEQ and some other things. That being said, like any other development, the litany and scrutiny they have to go through for drainage and all of that stuff is...
It would be on the responsibility of the developer to take care of
pretty
those particular
significant
issues.
But I did want you to, we are going to start acquiring the right-of-way this next fiscal year to complete the second phase of that South Haven expansion. We will work with the county and ODOT after that when we see what everything's going to look like. The Highway 20, potentially a new west side of 66 Service Road, how that ties in between Catalea and that church. There's a lot going on over there.
Yeah, there is.
We're a ways off. We would like to eliminate people coming out right there by the railroad tracks. We've talked to the county about moving the service road and what we build out in the future behind, back to the west. There's a lot, but they're a ways off, and all of that has to go through a multitude of engineering review.
Okay, yeah, because right now it backs up a whole lot.
Oh, yeah. It's, as someone who goes to church over there,
Yeah.
Yes.
And the widening of South Haven will include that intersection.
the intersection will be improved.
Yeah.
Part of this replatting that we required of Mr. Knapp and his group done is that they had to give us the right-of-way that we will need to improve that intersection. And I'm sure when we do the same thing across the street, which we will have an independent person go, because I'm not going to deal with a city employee on right-of-way
Right.
acquisition, we'll do the same thing there.
So just to kind of sum all that conversation up, there is improvements slated for South Haven. At least in the initial phase of that intersection, it will be a 4-way stop, at least for the time being, and then eventually we will end up signalizing that section. So they're going to put in all the infrastructure to signalize, and then it will actually go signalize at some point in the future. So
we'll be preparing for it in advance.
yes, correct. So
Was there any?
Yes.
Sorry, was there any specific opposition,
Yeah, so I mean, I can read just
or was it
general
just
concerns.
generic?
Yeah, I mean, it was general concerns. Property values tend to come up on these zoning requests. Infrastructure, there was some concerns over school overcrowding as well.
I saw what was listed. I just didn't know if there was any.
Yeah, and we typically just summarize, because a lot of times when folks are getting up to actually provide us with with those concerns, they'll just ditto off of what someone else said. So we just try to kind of keep it summarized just for
Predominantly the same concerns we hear with almost every rezoning in an established area. And I just want to reiterate to the council that our engineering staff and planning staff, the scrutiny that a developer has to go through in order to be able to develop property so it doesn't have an adverse effect on surrounding is very, very high.
I'd say motion to approve on the basis that Claremore needs more housing, and that would be a great place to put it from a
Second.
area. There's plenty of land to work with to accommodate those concerns.
You mentioned this is a downgrade in zoning.
Yeah, I mean, just think
Less
about
density, how's that?
Well, so typically, like, depending on how you want to spin it, if you look at commercial from a traffic or origination point perspective, you're going to get more traffic events that are going to actually occur from a commercial development. So therefore, there's going to be more vehicular traffic on the roads. Theoretically, according to studies, single-family subdivisions actually generate more vehicular traffic than an actual apartment complex. And the reason for that is, I'll use myself as an example. I have a son that is quickly approaching driving age, so we're going to have a third vehicle in our driveway. You're not really going to find many folks that are renting an apartment complex that are going to have 3 vehicles. The majority of them are only going to have 1, maybe 2. On a tract this size, you can fit quite a few single-family homes, especially with some of the development standards that we have. And then we have an RSF5 zoning district that allows 1,000 minimum square foot lot size. So you can fit a lot of density on a tract this size, even if you went the single-family route. So the one thing that I do want to kind of drive home on this is just the first step. I explain this every time, and to Mr. Fury's point, there's a sequence of steps that still has to occur. So by virtue of approving the future land use map change, or amendment rather, and the zoning change, it's not a license to proceed, or it's not a license to start construction, I should say, right? There's still a series of steps that they have to go through, and if at any one point they enter into a phase where they just can't get themselves out of it, they can't get the drainage to work, they can't get some other utility concern alleviated or remedied, then the project either has to change focus and change scope, or they have to abandon the project, right? So there's still a series of steps that they have to go through in order to actually get to an actual finished product. So, thank you.
I just feel like we have so much that we've already approved. Like, our growth is a lot that we've approved. All coming down Blue Star. Like, are we just trying to approve things too quickly? I mean, is there not a concern infrastructure in general?
Counselor, this is south.
I know where it is. It still affects everything. I mean, we have so many things already in the works.
I mean, again, I've been saying for 3 years why we need to have a need for diversity in revenue. We can't stop the growth. They're coming here.
We need more sales tax base, more revenue. We need more housing. We need more people living here for jobs. It's getting harder and harder to find people to work. And if Claremore needs more housing and you have to put it somewhere, where would you put it?
We have a lot coming that just isn't here yet. That's what I'm saying. Like, we have the apartment coming down Blue Star. We have the 2 other housing additions coming down Blue Star. That's 3. I know it's on the other side, but it's still a lot that's coming that's going to provide.
That's where I would recommend putting it if you're going to add more housing to Claremore.
Well, I want to make sure there are some legal obstacles, and I mean, at some point, if zoning, well, and I don't want to. At some point, Oklahoma is very protective of people's property rights. And so we also need to tread lightly about telling people what they can and can't do on their property if it meets legal requirements for the purpose of rezoning or platting it. I don't want to get into that without Adam's much better. So there's 2 different things. What you want and what we can do are always things that would need to be considered. I will tell you that I am not concerned from a standpoint of our ability to keep up with the growth unless we just stop reinvesting in infrastructure. But we just completed a housing study in conjunction with the Claremore Economic Development Authority. We're 500 single-family houses short and several hundred units on multifamily short, according to the study. So there is a need right now for housing.
But how much is that we've already approved? Or was that taken into consideration, the amount that's coming?
With the housing study, yes. All that data was given to
I know I called, I
provide data.
don't know if this helps, but I called today just to find out if there's a need for more apartments, because I know we'd been told that in the past. And I talked to the Chalet, who I don't know how many units they have, but it's a lot of units, because they added on to those 3-story buildings. And then I called the Claremore Flats, and both of them, I told them, hey, I'm with the city council, I just want to get some information. And the Chalet said they have 8 different layout apartments, anything from studio to 1-bedroom and 2-bedroom. And they have a waiting list of 60 or more people on every one of those 8 except for the studio apartments. That's the only ones they don't have waiting lists on.
And Deer Run, I called on, and they actually don't have wait lists, but they do have 1 to 2 bedrooms available. But it is a 4 to 6 week application process, but they do have availability.
Yeah, and the Claremore Flats, which is relatively new, they have 72 units. They said when they first started taking applications, they had almost 250 applications for those 72 units, which was way more than what they thought they would get on applicants. And they have waiting lists on theirs, and they have 2 and 3-bedroom layouts for theirs. They don't have 1-bedrooms or studios. Both of them independently told me, yes, we need more apartments. And I know that's competition for them, but both of them said we need more apartments. There's not enough. And I know we have the one coming on Blue Star.
Well, when they gave us the numbers for that one on Blue Star and Sioux, what that was going to provide did not meet the need that they presented at that time.
Right.
Either. That
It's
was a
different.
huge-
That number
It's a
is,
different
Every
base
day's
of
a new
people.
day for me, as my dad would say.
that number
Every
was
day's a new-
calculated into the housing study too, what those
Yeah.
units would be as well. And that's roughly 220, 225.
From a city council standpoint, it's my job to do what's the best interest for the city, not the best interest for me personally. If the zoning board is for it, if the staff is for it, if the city manager is for it, my single family holdings personally, my rental rates are over 60%, have increased over 60%. So even just from a pricing standpoint, somebody finding affordable housing, there's more body of knowledge that's going to say add more housing than there is fear and ignorance that's going to say we don't want it for some reason, generally. So unless there's a specific reason why it shouldn't be done that somebody can speak to, there's much more specific reasons to say we need more housing.
It sounds like infrastructure is already going to have some delays, on the sewer.
Well, for
For
that
them.
particular,
Yeah, for
that's
them,
not
is
our
what I-
sewer, so.
No, I know, for them.
Yeah.
I'm
What
just saying
about
for them.
providing the utilities? Is that-
That's,
Electric will be the only
it's
thing.
not our water, that's not our sewer.
know,
Electric
but-
would be the only thing that would be.
How backed up are we there? Like, I know it'll be a while, but
We're not backed up on
Okay.
the ability
On
to
that side
provide.
of Claremore, there's no, what electrical issues do we existing have from an infrastructure standpoint on that side of Claremore?
Just, people hitting poles.
Right.
I mean, the same
None
that
that I'm
every
aware of.
other electric provider in the country has, Counselor, to answer your question.
And Claremore Electric would be able to handle the new demand.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
What substation is that going?
Well, a lot of the stuff down there is on 2, which is why we had to do the study. It should be the farthest one away, so we're fixing a lot of that. But it would probably be on either 4 or 1. And in the future, as we grow and look towards some of our infrastructure needs that we've talked about, we've talked about the need for an additional water tower to provide high side pressure to that side of areas over there, and then also an additional substation on the west side of 66, which would actually feed everything over in the commercial development area where the plaza is and Walmart, Lowe's. Actually, all of that would eventually come off and go onto a new substation. That's sub 4. So without maps, this doesn't mean anything to you, but with our study that we did, there's not a concern providing power to any of our growth right now. And moving forward, we need to have those conversations, but we're not there yet.
So
We have a motion to approve and second already.
Motion and a
I know, we have a
second.
motion and a second. Any other discussion? I don't think we can take, can we take people
Yes,
from the
sir.
audience?
Unless you had signed up on the public comment ahead of time, we can't take comments.
Oh, the applicant is not allowed to speak, I'm sorry.
I didn't realize he was.
Who was,
Are you
was
the
it Brett or who was, oh, I'm sorry, no, I apologize. The applicant is here, I don't know who's behind. Yeah,
Sorry, sir, we just can't take comments at this time.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Can you call the roll?
Feldman,
Yes.
Eslick,
Yes.
Cottam. Okay. Long,
Yes.
Bowlby,
No.
McSpadden,
Yes.
Irwin.
No.
So we don't have a supermajority.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear Counselor Cottom's response.
So we have 2, 4, 4 yes.
And we need a supermajority on this?
We don't.
What's the vote? What's the-
3 against, 4, 4. No. Yeah.
So it passes.
4, 3, no.
I didn't know if we had.
4 yes.
4 yes, 3 no.
Okay, item number 3, discussion possible action on ordinance 2024-1, requesting a zoning change from neighborhood commercial to FF1 as printed. Mr. Cookie.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, City Council, Mr. Ferry. Again, nothing really different other than what I have previously presented on the other item. We did recommend approval of the zoning change. And if you guys have any further questions, I'd be glad to answer.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion to approve in second. Any discussion? Call the roll.
Feldman,
Yes.
McSpadden.
Yes.
Cottam. Long,
Yes.
Eslick,
Yes.
Bowlby.
Is it the same as before?
This is the ordinance that, the zoning
This is
change
the
was
zoning
approved by the council as a whole. This is the ordinance to enact the zoning change.
Yes.
Irwin.
No.
I may have misunderstood. I apologize. It's a no.
You good, sir?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Item number 4, discussion of possible action on ordinance number 2024-2, adopting the 2024 supplement for the Code of Ordinance of the City of Claremore. Sarah Sharp.
Each year, at the end of the year, we take the ordinances that were passed that year and send them to our codification company, and they integrate those into our ordinance book. So this is just the official act that would finalize that process.
Motion to approve.
Second.
A motion approved and a second. Any discussion? Call the roll.
Irwin?
Yes.
Feldman?
Yes.
Cottam?
Yes.
Long?
Yes.
Eslick?
Yes.
Bowlby?
Yes.
I vote yes, too.
McSpadden?
Thank you, sir.
Are we good, Sarah?
Yeah.
Okay. Item number 5, discussion possible action on resolution number 2024-4, authorizing the City of Claremore to partner with Rogers County Board of County Commissioners for the purpose of pursuing grant opportunities utilizing monies from the Oklahoma State Attorney General's Opioid Abatement Board. Mr. Beard.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the council. If you'll recall, for several years, there's been a major lawsuit nationally against a lot of vendors, pharmacies, pharmaceutical producers, whatnot. Claremore was one of the communities that preserved their right to proceeds from the settlement through the Attorney General's office. And through that, over the next 18 years, this giant federal settlement against people like Walmart, Walgreens, and then some of the pharmaceutical companies, it is billions of dollars for opioid abatement. So the uses for deterrence and treatment and counseling, community engagement, all of those types of things. the Attorney General's office has put together a process or an application or grant for entities. You have to be a political subdivision, so you had to be a city, a county, or a school, not non-for-profits, no NGOs or anything like that. So we did not file our own individual like some cities did and like the county did, because we knew we would get a certain allotted amount of money. But we also preserved our right to make application on top of the allotted amount of money that we get automatically to go after more money, to partner with people, to start engaging with not-for-profit schools, to do things to address all of the things that I referenced. There is about 114 different uses from the federal settlement in the federal court that are applicable. But one thing nobody can do is go out and buy cop cars and new guns and all that stuff. But SROs, you can partner with community agencies, things of that nature that deal with, like we're looking with Rogers County to deal with women in recovery. Over the years, we'll expand those services to draw in other entities and other places to help us with opioid education, opioid abatement, and those things. The AG's office send out a giant checklist of things, and one of those things, in order for us to make application through the grant process, that we have to have a resolution that both the city council approves, and then the county will do one as well. And then we will make a joint application with the county for about $500,000 for this first year to partner, do some things. And the gamut right now is a very narrow scope, because we want to make sure that we get our feet underneath us and on the ground. So we formed an advisory board that will also change. Again, we're just trying to get this first year. We're talking about getting mothers and fathers re-engaged with their children after they've been incarcerated. We're talking about GED programs in the Rogers County Jail. We're talking about school resource officers and education in the schools, community engagements, so we're working with some local churches. That's a grant application that we are going to make at some point with Rogers County to the Attorney General's office. Women in Recovery have a great program in Tulsa to kind of get the bones going, and that's who we're going to go with. They also have a grant writer, which helps us out. It doesn't cost us anything on that side. And then Rogers County will be the primary applicant, and a grant administrator through Women in Recovery would make sure that all the back end stuff is complied with, because we're not set up to deal with all the red tape and the things that go on. Now, I want to be clear, that's separate and apart from a letter that I got last week that said, congratulations, we're going to give you $755,000 over the next 18 years for these same purposes. So the first tranche of money this year at some point's $83,000. After that, for 17 years, we're going to get $41,000 and some change as matching funds or something for opioid abatement and deterrent. That number was developed by the Attorney General's office through data, basically how many instances and phone calls and 911 calls over a course of time that they gathered data. We're probably in the top 10. The number one, the largest single recipient was the city of Norman at $4.5 million. So apparently they like to party down there at OU. I don't know what's going on. So that's a separate pot of money from this, but all that to be said, that we are looking to move forward in a positive way, utilize these funds. This is unique because they're not taxpayer dollars until they're actually received. These were dollars awarded by a federal judge from defendants, if you would, and so it's kind of like a lot of things that we're doing with ARPA money. We're kind of building the ship while it's under sail. So, or another analogy is changing the tire while you're driving down the road. So the Attorney General's office and Terry Simonson, who the AG hired, Terry is who Tulsa County hired to administer and work out all of the county and city ARPA dollars for Tulsa. So he's used to this kind of, here's a bunch of money, we don't know how we just know that you have to do this and you need to comply with these rules. So he is walking the Attorney General's office. It's new to them, it's new to us, it's new to everybody. Unfortunately, about 220, 225 entities in the state I mean, they spent months, hey, preserve your rights, do this, do this, do. Only about 225 did. Now, keep in mind, there's over 500 cities and towns, there's 77 counties, and there's way too many school districts, about 550 school districts. So, as this program advances and grows forward, we will look to fold more people in as we grow the program and we can do more things. So we'll end up partnering with not one single Rogers County school exercised their ability to preserve their right, and we don't know why. However, there also might be a separate tranche of money for them, like there was for us outside of this, that nobody knows about yet. So again, big government being as inefficient or as efficient as they can. But we needed this resolution to move forward. This is something that once we get our feet on the ground and stand this up, there'll be pretty regular updates to the council and to the Board of County Commissioners on. But we have a real opportunity here to make some impact and do some community engagement. Ultimately, my conversations with both the judiciary and the drug court, the DA's office, law enforcement, our recovery partners, you can't go into something like this with a bunch of bureaucrats. You have to have somebody that's walked this walk and lived this life, and we do. We've been intentional about who we've got on the board to help us in that regard. And I'm very excited about Aaron's involvement. Because he can help us. But our key is ultimately is to get exposure to these kids and families long before they're ever in the judicial system, because that's the key. So going out into the community and doing some things, because we can have all the meetings we want, but drug users aren't going to come down to City Hall and go, hey, I'm here for a barbecue. It's just not going to happen. They're not. So we're going to get creative, but we're also going to start with some things that help folks in the recovery process, education assistance and some other things. So, because that's what the federal settlement says it had to be used for. So we're going to comply with that. But
Motion to approve.
thank you.
A motion, a second, any other discussion?
Made the second.
Call the roll.
Irwin? Yes. Spelman?
Yes.
Cottle? Yes. Vaughn?
Yes.
Eslick?
Yes.
Bowlby?
Yes.
McSpadden?
Yes. Motion to adjourn.
McSpadden?
Yes.
Cottle?
Yes.
Spelman?
Affirmative.
Vaughn?
Yes.
Eslick?
Yes.
Bowlby?
Yes.
Irwin?
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you.